Hello, Dr. Nicole Reparenting, the holistic psychologist here. I want to thank all of you who have already subscribed to my YouTube channel. If you guys like what you see, feel free to subscribe afterward. So, this video is a quick overview on the inner child. What is the inner child? The inner child we can think of as part of our mind that stores all of our emotional experiences from childhood. So even though we are no longer in childhood, think of it as a lens through which we view our current experiences. A lot of times this lens and these wounded places, parts of ourselves, contribute to the reactions that some of us will see in our relationships. Sometimes they'll contribute to the choices that we're making in our careers and our professional world. They might even affect the choices that we make raising our own children. So while we have now grown, like I said, these are wounded parts of ourselves that are still contributing to the things that we're doing daily, for some of us consistently on a daily basis. Why is that the case? So something important to understand is that when we are in childhood, usually around from birth to age 7, age 8, we are in an altered state of consciousness. And that altered state of consciousness is something called egocentric, or it has an egocentric point of view. So what that means is that we filter all of the experiences that happen to us during that age period through a self-assigned meaning. So I'm going to use an example because I know that probably sounds confusing. All that means is, so if we have, say, a father, dad comes home from work every day, in a grumpy mood. Because we're children, we might not be aware that the reason why dad is grumpy is because he has a stressful job, or his boss tears into them, or there are financial concerns that dad's always worrying about. Not knowing those things as a young child, the egocentric meaning that we could apply to seeing dad's grumpiness is that we are not worthy of love, or we are not cared about by dad. And then that becomes a story that we tell ourselves every time dad comes home in that grumpy state. Again, let's remember, like I said, because we carry those with us as we grow, how this could look in adulthood is very, very similar, right? So our partner might come home and she or he might similarly be grumpy or had a bad day. We might find ourselves retelling that same story, right? So our partner is short with us, so it must mean he or she doesn't love us or doesn't care about us. Same thing with a friend. Maybe we're not hearing back from our friend, not texting us back. We might find ourselves going down that same pathway and assigning that same meaning, right? This friend must not care about our relationship. I must not matter to this friend. Again, whether or not that's true in reality might not be the case, but that is that wounded part of ourself that's assigning that meaning. And then we can imagine the reactions that we might have. So it's important to think of this inner child and the wound as a part of ourself. It is not ourself. And what happens is when we react from that wounded place, if we really understand our reaction or look back on it, usually after the fact, it's really hard, I think, for some of us to develop the awareness during the moment, we might see a similar coping mechanism, right? We might see a tantrum. Our partner coming home, we might scream, yell, storm off, or some of us do the other end of the spectrum. We check out, we numb ourselves, we dissociate. Again, that reaction is coming from that really wounded child, and it probably looks like the same thing we did in childhood when we suffered that wound. So what's important is to remember that this is not yourself. This is just a part of yourself. The self that we all can cultivate as we are now the adult is awareness, is being able to observe that this is a reaction that is coming from a very old hurt and that it might not reflect the reality. The more we work to expand our awareness, and now, like I said earlier, it is so incredibly difficult to do it in these moments, but we can practice and we can get to that point. But the more we cultivate that awareness, the more opportunity we have to make a new choice. So when my partner comes home and I try, or my subconscious, my wounded child tries to assign the meaning that he or she doesn't love me, the more I'm able to cultivate awareness and tap into the self that is me, the adult self, I can now have a choice. I don't have to stomp off. I don't have to disconnect or disassociate. I can choose to do something different. And that is how we heal the inner child. I'm going to go more into healing with some quick and easy steps next week. So if you guys are interested, please stay tuned. If you like this video, please hit subscribe, turn on your notifications. Every Sunday a YouTube video will come at you.